Welcome, if you dare, to the darkest corners of the internet. Tonight, we unravel the chilling tale of the Orphan's curse. Lights down, eyes wide, and remember, once you enter, there's no turning back. In a remote village, long forgotten by the world, there stood an orphanage, an ancient, crumbling building hidden deep within the woods. The villagers whispered of its haunted past, its dark secrets, and the countless children who had passed through its decaying doors. The orphanage was a place where no child had ever left, not truly, at least. And so, when young Eliza was left on its doorstep, the curse had found its next victim. Eliza, a small, orphaned child, arrived at the orphanage one stormy night. With only the remnants of a faded blanket and a suitcase containing the few belongings she had left, she was led inside by the stern matron. The other children were eerily silent as she passed them, their eyes hollow, void of any hope. Eliza felt a cold shiver run down her spine, as if the very air around the orphanage was suffocating her. And she was right, this place was alive with something unnatural. Inside, the orphanage smelled of mildew, rot, and decay. The walls groaned with age, and the floorboards creaked under every step. The children here were not like others she had known. They were silent, as if they had long ago abandoned any hope of escape or rescue. Their faces were pale, eyes hollow, and they never spoke a word to Eliza. But one thing was clear: they knew something. Something Eliza hadn't yet understood. That first night, Eliza lay in bed, struggling to fall asleep. The whispers started then low, faint voices echoing through the darkness. At first, she thought it was the wind, but soon the whispers grew clearer. Eliza, Eliza. They called her name, echoing from the far corners of the room. She sat up, eyes wide with terror, but saw nothing, only the oppressive, suffocating darkness. The whispers didn't stop. Instead, they grew louder, more desperate. Something was here. Something wanted her. The following days brought no relief. Eliza started to notice something strange about the orphanage. At night, she would catch glimpses of shadowy figures lurking in the dark corners of her room, in the hallways and behind the curtains. They would vanish the moment she tried to look at them fully, but the feeling of being watched never went away. One night, while wandering the hallways, Eliza saw it. A figure, a tall, gaunt shadow with glowing red eyes, watching her from the end of the hallway. She froze, unable to move as the thing stepped closer. But just as it reached her, the figure faded into the wall, leaving Eliza trembling. The matron of the orphanage, an elderly woman with sharp, cold eyes, took Eliza aside one evening after dinner. With a trembling hand, she pulled the child into the shadows and whispered, "Do not trust the walls here. Do not trust the silence. The house will call to you. It will offer you solace. But it is a lie. If you listen too long, it will take your soul." Eliza shuddered. But before she could ask more, the matron turned and left, disappearing into the shadows of the hallway. Eliza began to realize that the other children knew more than they were letting on. They spoke in hushed voices, their words barely audible. At night, some of them would disappear for hours, only to return with vacant, hollow eyes, as though they had been somewhere else, somewhere terrible. One evening, she followed them to a secluded room in the back of the orphanage. Inside, she saw them kneeling before an old, rusted door. They chanted something in a language Eliza couldn't understand, and as they did, a low, rumbling voice echoed through the room, shaking the walls. The door creaked open, and an oppressive, dark energy flooded the room, making the air feel thick and suffocating. The children fell silent, their eyes wide with terror, for they knew the house was waking up. That night, Eliza's curiosity took her deeper into the heart of the orphanage. She found herself drawn to the deepest part of the house, an old, forgotten basement. As she descended the stairs, a putrid smell filled her nostrils, and a cold gust of air swept through her. The moment she stepped inside, she felt it, a presence, something far older and far darker than anything she had ever imagined. And then it spoke. "You are mine now, Eliza, forever." The walls seemed to close in on her as the entity revealed itself, a twisted, monstrous form, its eyes glowing with an unnatural hunger. It had been waiting for her. The entity's voice filled her mind, urging Eliza to join it, to become part of its twisted realm. "All the children before you have joined me, Eliza," it whispered, "and soon you will too." Eliza realized the horrible truth. The orphanage wasn't just a prison for abandoned children. It was a hunting ground. The entity fed on their souls, trapping them within the walls of the orphanage, forever to serve as its minions. And now it was her turn. As Eliza stood before the entity, she understood her fate. The choice was simple: give in or fight. But fighting meant nothing here. The orphanage was a part of the entity, as much as it was a part of her now. There was no escaping it. As the shadows of the lost children gathered around her, their ghostly whispers filled her ears, urging her to join them, to accept the curse. And so, with a heavy heart, Eliza did the only thing she could do. She gave herself to the entity, becoming another lost soul, trapped forever in the dark grip of the orphanage. And so, the orphanage remains, its dark and twisted soul still hungry for more. The whispers still call out, beckoning the next child to take Eliza's place. The house will always hunger, and it will never let go. The souls of the lost children will forever wander its halls, waiting for someone to come, to listen, and to fall into the same trap they did. The orphanage lives, and it is still waiting for you. If you like this kind of video, subscribe and join the terror. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all our latest spine-tingling uploads.